What makes the good life the good life? This podcast is on a mission to find out. So join us as we explore the Heartland's best and most honest voices. Venture to all four corners of York County, because when it comes to quality of life, it's all about keeping it local. Brought to you by the York County Development Corporation, this is 17 County.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review our podcast, 17 County Podcast. Doing so helps grow our podcast. It helps get us through that algorithm that exists out there. And so we appreciate any help from our listeners. We would also like to take the time to thank our members. Without these members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at YCDC. So I'd like to thank Cornerstone Bank, Central Valley Ag, Mead Lumber, York General, York Community Title, Chances Are, and Heritage Realtors. Just a few sponsors that help us do what we do down here at YCDC, and we'd like to thank you for your support. And members can be seen on our member directory page at yorkdevco.com. That's YORKDEVco.com. So we'll jump into the interview. Our guest today doesn't quite call York home, but does see the value of this community in a place like York. He is currently the plant manager for Ply Gem. It's a Cornerstone Building Brands company. And for our longtime listeners, Ply Gem was formerly Croy Plastics and everything like that. But prior to moving to Lincoln, Cameron and his fiance were located in Carmel. And so we would love to welcome them to Nebraska and to York. And so welcome to the show, Cameron.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here and be a part of it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. So we're going to kind of jump in. We're going to do a top three, bottom three, and I'll go first as far as a top three. So my top three, so the topic this time, we chose to do fast food chain restaurants. With York having a plentiful of those out by the interstate, I thought it'd be a fun little kind of topic for us to kind of jump into here. So my top three are actually going to be Outback Steakhouse. I'm a big fan of all that bread they bring out. The bloomin' onion is something that you can't ever pass up if you have a chance or something like that. And so enjoy stuff like that. KFC is always just consistent. I love fried chicken. And then my final one is probably going to have to be Raising Cane's, being kind of a staple here when I was growing up, or when I was in Lincoln. It was something that I got pretty consistently. And now whenever I have a chance to venture either to Lincoln or Grand Island or somewhere bigger, that's Raising Cane's is always it. So what's your top three, Cameron?
Well, I've got to experience, since moving here, I've got to experience Raising Cane's, and to be honest, that would be one of mine as well. I wish they had those all across the Midwest. We don't have those in Indiana, so I was glad to experience that. Their chicken is incredible. I'm a very big Jimmy John's guy, home of the Italian nightclub, which is my favorite sandwich there. And they're as well very consistent, and freaky fast, right? So I enjoy that. And then probably I've always been a big fan of Wendy's. Sometimes I like the big, it's got like bacon.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yes, Baconator. Thank you.
Yeah,
Baconator. Love the Baconator. I like my meat, and Baconator is makes the taste buds go crazy. So
no, yeah, that's a good one. And what would be your bottom three then?
So I'm not very big on Applebee's. Same with Long John Silver's, not been a very big fan. And then I've never been really a big fan of Burger King. I'd have to say probably those three are the bottom.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on Long John Silver's. Just never been a fan. I don't understand how they survived the pandemic, but
I don't either.
I guess some people do eat there. Some people. Chipotle is the other one of mine. I'm not a huge Mexican food eater, and all I hear is this Chipotle Qdoba stuff, and I'll pass. I'll just move on to something else there. But I understand the hype. I believe it's pretty good food, but it's just not for me. And then Golden Corral. I had a bad experience growing up where I thought I was getting chicken nuggets and I ended up getting like fish nuggets or something like that. Just totally ruined my experience with that. So those would be my bottom three. All right, so let's talk a little bit about you, Cameron. So tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in Kokomo, Indiana. So tell me about your family and everything like that.
Yeah, so grew up, well, I was born and raised out in the country. I have two brothers. One brother's 4 years older than me, Nick, and then I've got an Irish twin brother, Taylor, who's not even a year younger than me. Um, and then I have a half sister who's 14 years older than me, but never lived at our house with us. But we grew up out in the country. And Kokomo's a it's a fairly small town. It was about 65,000 people. Not necessarily as small as York, but it's got the whole small town vibe. Everybody kind of knows everybody. It was a very big city. Well, the state of Indiana is very big in basketball, but Kokomo in particular was very big and very competitive in basketball. So, we grew up playing. My brothers and I all pretty much grew up playing the same sports, basketball and soccer, for most of our I guess childhood and through high school. And then my brother and I, actually little brother, switched to football 2 years into high school. So we're a very big sports family. Did a lot of AAU, spent a lot of our time traveling for sports, AAU and whatnot. So my parents, my dad actually worked at the American Water Company. So while he had the three of us and working there, he went to back to school, got his master's degree from Indiana Wesleyan. And he worked did some supervision at Delco Electronics, and then went to Chrysler and worked there as a supervisor and actually retired from there for about 14 years. Yeah. And then my mom and my dad, and then my mom's parents opened a business at the time called Here We Grow Again, which was like a children's clothing resale shop. They ended up opening three of those in Muncie, Indiana, Kokomo, Indiana, and then had just opened one in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Isn't
Go ahead.
Ball State in Muncie, Indiana?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That's pretty much what Muncie's known for, is Ball State. So yeah, then my brother and I, little brother, we graduated from high school at Northwestern. My parents did end up splitting up, and let's see, I was in sixth grade. So we had lived in Fort Wayne for a couple of years, and then we moved back to Kokomo to finish school there. But my little brother and I had won our school's first state championship. It was in basketball. So that was my senior year, 2007. So that was an awesome accomplishment. And it was actually a very exciting game that went to double overtime. There was a record 87 fouls in the game. So we had seven or eight people foul out, and the other team did as well. So it was pretty crazy.
Everybody was down to their final 5 or 6.
Pretty much. Yeah. So I was actually the first one on our team with 4 fouls and ended up not fouling out.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You get that far and not have, yeah.
Yeah, I had 4 fouls going to the fourth quarter and was able to make it through 2 overtimes. So
in your mind, kind of sports kind of help you prepare for your next kind of steps, or, what were you kind of learning, through sport to kind of prepare?
Oh, yeah. We obviously got to learn teamwork. Teamwork is everything, especially out there in the real world and working for companies, and how important teamwork is, and building team camaraderie. Having a culture where everyone's helping everyone to achieve the common goal. Communication is a very vital aspect in that. And I think anyone would agree that communication is vital to any relationship that you have with a person, or company or team, or really anything throughout your life. Communication's important, and ensuring that that you do it efficiently. And I was thinking about this the other day, is how much with the change of technology and how we text and call and send messages through Instagram or other social medias, and how much it takes away or has taken away from people's ability to communicate face to face. And obviously, in the workplace, we've got to do a lot of communication face to face. And it just seems from my perspective that we're not as good at it as we once were, if that makes sense.
We're not practicing it as much as we used to.
No, it's too easy. It's easy to go with, or we tend to choose the easy way out, which is, I'll just text somebody. I don't want to have to deal with confrontation, or deal with somebody's emotions, or deal with those types of things. So people will, typically take the easy way out and text instead of going to have a conversation. And then, things get taken out of context, and sometimes make situations a lot worse than they could have been just having a conversation face to face. So,
exactly. Conversation. How much of communication? I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's less than 20% of communication is like the words themselves. It's the body language, it's, how people react, it's everything like that. And so, yeah, when you are just doing it by text, you're eliminating almost 80% of what communication is. And so, yeah, it really can make things hard. I see that totally, Cameron.
Another really big aspect I learned through sports was leadership. So, I had the luxury of being our team captain for football and basketball. And, I took pride in how well our team did. I took pride in ensuring that, everybody was doing their part to be successful. And I wasn't the leading scorer on our basketball team. I wasn't the star per se, by the stat line, but I understood my role, and I had to do a lot of the dirty work to make sure we had the opportunity to be successful, and was kind of the middleman, ensuring the communication between everybody was done in a uplifting manner. It's very easy to get emotional during sports and say things you don't mean, or get in confrontations with other teammates. So I took a lot of pride in ensuring that we stuck together as a unit. And a cool fact actually about our team, we had actually 5 relationships. So what I mean by that is, like, me and my brother played on the team. We had 2 more sets of brothers, and then a set of cousins that were all on the same team. So it was a very family oriented team, just in that respect. And then we'd spent a lot of time together just in that area playing sports together. So it was really a family team relationship that we'd built, that I think was very, very key to our success. And something that, as I move on to moving out here to Nebraska, that I want to build with people, and especially in the York facility plant, there's a lot of people that know each other. There's a lot of people that are in some ways related to each other. And so that kind of whole aspect, I try to, in essence, preach and communicate with people that, most of us know each other, or most of you know each other, and we've got to work together as a team. And we're set up to be very successful because we do know a lot about each other, and have that kind of relationship that can help get us to the next level. And we've seen a lot of the productivity from when I first got there in December to now has been absolutely incredible. We're hitting record record numbers across the board, both weekly or daily, weekly, and monthly. So very, very proud of the team there. And hopefully we can continue the good work we're doing.
Yeah, I just want to kind of quick comment. I mean, you were talking about, the relationships on your basketball team, and I like how you tied that in with Ply Gem. But one of the things that came to mind was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I'd imagine your team had a lot of trust with each other. I mean, you guys, grew up each other. You could trust that, you could count on each other, that accountability. Even if you accidentally maybe slip up and say something in the heat of the moment, you have that trust to come back to that. Okay, this person is wanting the best out of me, and that's why he said what he said. He wasn't trying to be, derogatory or negative. He just trusted that he saw more in me. And so, was that something that maybe your team had, and that's kind of something that you're trying to build at Ply Gem? Is that trust and accountability?
100%. I think you hit the nail on the head with that, and accountability, especially these days. It just seems like we've lost a lot of accountability, and individuals taking accountability for themselves. But on that team, I think that was a huge, to your point, a huge reason for our success is that everyone or everyone was held accountable to doing their role on the team, but also that we had each other's back no matter what at the end of the day. And the feuds and whatnot were dust in the wind by the end of the day, or the end of the practice. And we understood that at the end of the day we've got a goal to accomplish, and we've got each other's back in doing that. So yeah, I think accountability is is huge, especially these days. So yeah, good point.
Awesome. And kind of switch gears here a little bit. Was basketball kind of a contributing factor to your college decision, or how did that kind of work out where you ended up landing where you did?
No, so I honestly had a couple like half ride scholarships for football. After or playing 2 years, I actually picked football up very quick, and was pretty good at football. I had set the record for tackles my senior year in the county. So I thoroughly enjoyed playing football. But I actually stayed home my first year to get the prerequisites completed. So IUK is where I first started, which is just a branch. It's a branch of IU in Kokomo.
Yeah, it'd be like University of Nebraska Kearney, University of Nebraska
Yep.
Omaha. Yep.
Yep, exactly. So I stayed home the first year just to get my prerequisites, kind of the grades set, the making sure my GPA was good, and things like that before I went to IU Bloomington, which I did the following year. Plus the prices, the cost of school. So I'm paying for my own school, and the cost of school is significantly different staying home at that time, staying home, than going to IU. But I did end up going to IU the next year, a fraternity, with a couple friends that I had met when I had moved to Fort Wayne for those 2 years.
Did you always know you were going to go to Indiana then? Like, did you?
Yes.
I mean, it was just a matter of time type thing.
Yes, because we grew up IU fans. My dad's a huge Bob Knight fan. I mean, we watched basketball day in and day out when we were younger. And my dad's all about Bob Knight and IU. So that was kind of blood in our family, and just pretty much knew that's where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to be, at first I didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do. I had first actually started with psychology, wanted to do a psychology major. Love to learn how the brain, or how and why people think, what they do, and kind of understand just people in general. And then when I went to IU, I'd switched to education because I wanted to teach, and then I also wanted to be a coach. Those were kind of my big, I guess, my big priorities at that time. And then so after my first year at IU, I used to do air conditioning work in the summer, and I actually had an accident. I had fell I was putting air conditioners on top of a roof downtown Indianapolis, and I had fell 33 feet through a skylight, landing on concrete.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I had a lot of injuries, obviously, from that. So my dad was retired at the time, and I was able to come back to Kokomo and live with him because he had to take me to all my doctor appointments, which I had roughly 3 to 4 doctor appointments a week. Um,
Man.
yeah, so
That
it
was
was a
after
very
that was your sophomore year?
that would have been, yeah. So that was after sophomore year. Oh man, I've got a lot of metal in my body right now, keeping
I
things
guess what were
together.
the initial injuries? Was I'm imagining a lot of back and like trauma
Um, so
or
so I had cracked my skull. My skull had cracked all the way around. Um, I broke both my cheekbones. I had shattered my 5 front teeth on the top of my jaw. I broke my right wrist. I ended up losing one kidney and my spleen. Um, yeah, which had actually exploded inside of me. So how I had landed was on my left shoulder first, and then my head hit after. So my left shoulder took most of the impact or the initial impact, and then my head and knee after that. So yeah, guess how long I was in the hospital?
I'm gonna guess a couple weeks, but I feel like it was like 2 days.
8 days. I walked
Oh,
I walked out 8 days. Yeah.
wow. I'm just happy you're here. I mean, that sounds like a fall that could have been a whole lot worse.
Oh yes, very, very blessed, very, very, very blessed. Not only am I still here, but I'm not paralyzed. And really the residual effects from that. I have somewhat of a short-term memory issue here and there. But aside from that, and sometimes I feel the cold weather coming in. Um, with the metal in my body. But aside from that, I'm a pretty strong, healthy individual and blessed to be here. So
Yeah, definitely. So, what would the junior year look like then after that? I mean, did you have to take a lot of
so
summer classes? Did you delay your start?
so I had tried to immediately rush back into school. So this was about a month and a week. This had happened before school started. So I transferred back home and started school, and I actually failed out my that next semester. I probably should not have gone back to school that quick. Obviously, with all the doctor appointments and just what was going on, it was probably not a smart decision on my part to do that. So I actually failed out, and then I wrote a letter to the chancellor about why she needed to let me back in, or if she would let me back in, and why I wanted to continue on to school. And I met with them, had a meeting, and they did accept me. And then 3 years later, after that, I graduated with a 3.3 GPA in communications. So um, I was blessed again to have that opportunity. And that taught me a whole lot too, um, being relentless and of course you have the goals of when you go into school to graduate, move on to your job, but obviously that kind of smacked me in the face a little bit, and I didn't know what was going to happen. Or um, you know I did kind of take the challenge head on, um, and I started taking 18 credit hours the following semester that I had felt. Well, actually, I had to sit a semester out, and then I jumped back in, and then yeah. So 3 years later, after that, I was able to graduate, and it was a very big accomplishment. I'm very, 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 very happy to have done it. Probably the biggest accomplishment of my life. So
Talk about a lot of adversity in, one of those rough stages in your life. I mean, not only, the fall, and then trying to come back and maybe not being the most wise, or not, I don't want to say wise, but not the best decision for long term, trying to rush back to school. And then, yeah, I ended up, failing. I failed a class one time and I about lost my whole scholarship. So I totally understand, that whole kind of thing and everything like that. But yeah, to come back, finish with a 3.3, especially after failing, I mean, that's a lot to bring back and everything like that. And so I imagine, I mean, you had a great support system, not only with your family, but you talked about your fraternity. So let's talk a little bit about that and how they kind of maybe, helped you out and were a support system for you.
Well, and they were for a little bit, but the problem was I came back home and actually I finished school at IUK. So it
Oh,
still
gotcha.
it still says IU on it. But and it was probably not the best for me to go back to the fraternity with what had happened, failing out that semester. I obviously knew what my priorities were, and as much as I wanted to go be a part of that, I know what I wanted to accomplish, and kind of where I needed to be and what I needed to do to accomplish that. So, yeah, my family was a very big help in that. My stepmom actually, God bless her, she's she's a trooper. She's never had kids of her own, and she did a fantastic job of really kind of taking all of us under her wing, playing the motherly figure, but also really holding us accountable to school. And she was a big reason, along with my dad, um, holding me accountable to making sure I'm doing what I'm doing, keeping my head on straight, and focusing on the goal at hand, which was to graduate college. So I didn't get to spend as much time with the fraternity. I still do talk to a couple of the brothers from there, and I enjoyed the experience that year that I had with them. Networking is I think the big thing that comes from the fraternity, and building those long time relationships with folks um, that you're there with. But I was I, again, I think I made the right decision in staying home and finishing school and keeping my head in the game and graduating. So
No, definitely. So yeah, graduating. And so what was that, for your first job, after graduation?
I had my internship was the last thing I had to finish. So I did an internship with FCA, which is at the time was Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. I think they've now changed their name to Stellantis. But I had it was a brand new plant in Tipton, Indiana. So it was about a 30-minute drive for me. I'd started in maintenance. I was a maintenance supervisor for the first 3.5 months. And I kind of I kind of let them know, I'm looking for a job here, not just a internship. And they did give me that opportunity. So after the 3.5 months in maintenance, they had moved me to a production supervisor there, where I was. So we ran the 9-speed transmissions, and I was on the main line. So all the assembly was done on the main line. I would say, a lot of the pressure was on the main line, and ensuring that we made the transmissions, and that's where the quote unquote money was made. So again, I got put into a spot where I would definitely say I'm one that thrives under pressure. And again, it came back to bringing the experience I had in basketball, the issue where I went through my accident, and having to really come through that adversity. So, dealing with the different issues on the lines, when a line goes down because of this and that, but is not stressing, but bringing our heads together, figure out what the problem is, get the problem fixed as soon as possible, and keep the line moving. So, being on the main line, all eyes were on you in an essence. And I worked with a union. Um, it was a union environment, and those could be pretty tough. I probably would not work in that environment again. but it did help build a lot of, it taught me how to build relationships with people, um, and really build again another, that whole team camaraderie, as we were pretty successful in what we were doing. So I liked the opportunity there and enjoyed it, but I probably would not do that one again.
Yeah, that, it sounds like, quite the process of, trying to, learn to work with different people, different styles. Yeah, it definitely, it sounds like it was a great learning moment to get you to where you are today, and everything like that. Definitely not one of those
Yep,
things that you want to do forever, but it's one of those things that'll help you prepare to be, better at another job and everything like that.
definitely.
So you did the FCA thing, it looks like, for just over 5 years, just under 6 years.
Yeah,
Uh,
just under 6 years. So they had promoted me. So I was on the main line for 4.5 years, a little bit over 4 years. Because, and again, I was pretty good at building that, at running the main line by that time, and I was one of the only supervisors. They had not moved to a different department to gain knowledge and learn. Um, but after that, they did move me to a business unit leader. So that's a promotion, in which I had to move to the off shift, and had what, five or 10, actually 10 different departments, which was about 120 people.
wow.
Yeah. And then I also helped out with the main lines because of my knowledge there. So I worked on I did all the sub lines so that all the parts that they made fed into the main line. And I was able to, with my knowledge on the main line, I was able to really bring the sub lines in with the main lines to be really efficient together. Um, and I did that for a little bit under a year. And then I had a couple of the guys I worked with there, they had went to another company called Wabash National, which they finally had a operations manager job open there. And so I applied for that and was able to get that. And then
What
that was
about
in Laf. Go ahead.
what about this Wabash job was, I guess, attractive to you? What was the decision to pull you away from and towards, Wabash?
Well, a couple things. So one was, they offered me a lot more money. That was the first one.
Yep,
Second
yep.
was, it was not a union environment.
Hmm.
Third one was, there was, I will say, less micromanagement from the top down, which I appreciated. So I feel like I really got to make more of my own decisions, and really use my experience, my previous experience, to make the right decisions out there. I was again blessed with some very good supervisors. They had, I think, probably five of, or I'd say six of the 12 supervisors have worked there for 20 plus years. So they had grown, I mean, they've lived their whole life there, and were very familiar with the product, how to build trailers. That's what we did, was we built trailers there. But very familiar with all the parts, the processes, etc. And it was very easy to build a team, a really strong team there, especially on the off shift. The guys already kind of had a nice, I guess, already kind of had teamwork established there on the off shift. So it was a very, quick. I think it was very quick for me to get in there and to make some changes. Everybody's scared of change at first. But I think we were able to do really well, and we set a couple of records, monthly records there, especially towards the end of my stint there. So I would say those couple of things is.
Well, yeah, that's great to get that kind of freedom. I mean, that's nice to not have, Bill looking over your shoulder, checking and making sure you're doing it the way Bill wants it done, and everything like that. And so,
Yep, yep.
yeah, that's kind of nice. And so it looks like you were at Wabash for just about a year before you decided to make another change. So what led to that change and coming to Cornerstone Building Brands?
So I actually met my boss golfing. One of my good friends, one of my good friends was getting married, and the woman he was marrying was I graduated with her from high school, and we were pretty close. She was a big basketball player as well, so we were pretty close. Well, her bridesmaid was her cousin, and her cousin, her husband is my boss. So we met the day before the wedding. We went with the groom, and we did a little golf tournament. And I was paired up with the groom and my boss Eric. Um, and we had a fantastic round. And during that we actually won our little tournament. But
Nice.
yeah, that may have been the selling point.
I
But
was just say
we
that kind of
just
helps with the deal, you know.
yeah, right. He did bring up that he had a position that was open in York, Nebraska, and um, I think through the round, after we were done talking about my experience and whatnot, he thought that I would be a good candidate for it. So um, he kind of he kind of pitched it to me, and then came back about a month later and asked again how serious if I was serious about doing it. And after talking with my fiance, I was definitely up for it. So he did give me the job offer. I went through 6 different interviews, um, and was able to get the job offer and accepted it, and then moved out here in December.
Right on. So before we get to you moving out here and everything like that, tell me a little bit about who is Ply Gem? What is Ply Gem? How does it relate to Cornerstone Building Brands? As I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of our York native listeners that'll be listening to this, they remember it as Croy. So tell me a little bit about, who is Ply Gem, and what's going on out there.
Yeah, so most people again know it as Croy, and it's funny because when I go to golf league, and people are like, so where do you work? I start with Cornerstone. Well, it's actually Ply Gym, and then they're still like, okay, I somewhat know what you're talking. Then I say it's Croy Building Brand. Oh yeah, right there across from the other Croy. Yep, yep. So
Yep.
yes, most people know it as Croy. Um, but so it had gone from Croy to Veriform, was the company, and then Veriform to Ply Gem, and then Ply Gem and NCI merged to create Cornerstone. So that's how that came about. And then we obviously, so Ply Gem or Cornerstone, I'm going to use Cornerstone. Cornerstone is, we do residential and commercial exterior building products. So all of your siding, your shutters, your windows, and then my plant in particular does the fence and rail. So all your privacy fencing. We've got, oh man, I think we went through it, and we've got, I believe there's about 1,000 different profiles with the different lengths and colors of whatever kind of fence that you want. Both, again, they are both residential and commercial. So that's what we offer. We're one of the biggest companies, if not the biggest, and it's a fantastic company to work for.
Awesome. So what was the thoughts of moving to Nebraska originally? And I guess we'll kind of go from there.
Well, personally, I was pretty excited about it. Obviously, this was another promotion into a plant manager role. I felt personally that I was ready for this kind of a role after my previous experiences. Um, and I was open. I had already been open to moving wherever my career would take me. So it was a pretty easy deal for me. But my fiance was a little skeptical at first, having to leave all of our friends and where we grew up and everything to come somewhere brand new. And obviously I was going to be busy with work, and that was going to leave her a lot of time by herself. And it was a little bit of a struggle at first, but she's done a fantastic job reaching out to folks throughout Lincoln. We've got about 3 or 4 different groups of married couples that we hang out with, and we've even been able to bring some of those people together for the first time. So it's turned out to be a really fantastic move. I think she's really happy about it. She's also been able to start her own business. So she offers it's in MCF, and that's Marie Collins' family. So they offer like if a family needs a nanny or a babysitter or somebody to watch the house or a dog sitter or something like that, they offer that. They offer that to those families. So her and her business partner, one will reach out to the families to kind of find out what their needs are, and then my fiance Katie, she does all of the recruiting. And their whole point is to match, make sure that the match is good between the family and the nanny or whoever it is that they hire. Because again, that type of thing comes down to trust, and they want to make sure they build that relationship. So she's taken off with that, done very, very well with that so far. And the good thing is she's able to do that anywhere that I move within my career. So it's turned out to be a really great move for the both of us. And we've thoroughly enjoyed moving here to Nebraska. The people are fantastic, very welcoming. You feel like you're part of the family right off the bat. So for us, it's definitely been a great move, and we're very happy about it.
As you mentioned, you live in Lincoln currently, and let me talk to our current listeners that are listening to this. It is okay that someone works in York and doesn't live here. So we ultimately want them to do both, but coming here to work is great because they're coming to help our community. They're trying to improve everything. So listeners, don't freak out. It's great that we have someone that's coming that sees the value in working in a community like ours, even if it doesn't fit their personal lifestyle. And so it takes a whole bunch of people to make a community. So we definitely appreciate someone that wants to, work in a town like York and work with people that are in a small community. So don't jump on them too much for that. And so I just want to learn a little bit more about what went into your decision to not live here. As we know, it's perfectly fine. People have their own lives and everything, but what kind of went into that decision?
Well, I think it came down to really the activities to do outside, especially for her. I'm busy with work typically Monday through Friday. I'm not home very much, but to eat dinner and sleep and get up and do the same thing again. So it was more for her and what availability she had to. She loves to be outside, and this kind of gave her the opportunity to be adventurous. And she didn't necessarily see as much adventure in York as per se in Lincoln, as far as things to go do, etc. I think she wanted to be able to find and reach people, and felt like it would obviously be easier to reach more people here in Lincoln than it would have been in York. So I personally would have been okay either way, because I've enjoyed York. I joined the country club there, and I guess that was a huge benefit for me because the the membership was half the price, so that was fantastic. But I've met a lot of great people, just golfing with them, and at the country club that are just stand up great people. So I definitely would have been okay either way, and it was more on her behalf that we had moved to Lincoln.
No, and that's perfectly great. That makes so much sense. I totally understand it. York has a walking trail, but it's a walking trail. Lincoln has like 40. So it's kind of obvious there. We have a dog park. Lincoln has like 12 or more.
Yeah.
So, and I know you are, she's got a dog, you all have a dog. So, that's
Yep.
an important part of your life. So totally understand. But that doesn't mean we're not going to keep selling York and trying to, try to convince that significant other that, York does have what she wants. But, I totally understand it at this point. So kind of what has kind of been some other maybe, what's your commute like? What's life in Lincoln like? Do you want to share about any of those things, or is there any other positives, negatives that you kind of maybe want to touch on?
Yeah, so the commute's not too bad. So the last job I had at Wabash, it was roughly the same commute. Um, Through the winter months, I was taking Highway 80. And to be honest with you, I don't know which one would have been better between Highway 80 or 34, with how many semis I see stuck in the in the middle there between the both roads. So it was obviously it was a pretty. I felt like it was a harsh winter, for the
Definitely.
most part, especially compared to what we've had in the last couple of months. I know in Indiana it wasn't that bad, but this one seemed to hit pretty hard, in for the last couple of years anyway. And my commute's not too bad at all. I'm a very avid podcast listener, so I enjoy listening to podcasts. And so that 50-minute to an hour drive gives me that time to do that. It really gives me time to, once I leave work, also to kind of uh, get through the emotions or the stresses or whatever that I went through there, so I can come home and actually enjoy the time, with Katie, and enjoy dinner with her. So that's another thing, is that this has allowed us to actually spend more time together, because my previous job I was on a night shift. So as I was going to work, she's going to bed, and vice versa. So that whole change has been really, really beneficial for us.
What side of
And
Lincoln are you?
the Northwest, the Fallbrook area.
Oh, yeah, 34 makes way more sense for you. By the time you
Yes,
drive to the interstate, it's in 15 minutes.
yes, exactly.
You're almost to Seward
uh,
at that point.
right, 100%. So, um, but I didn't know in the wintertime how I was a little bit worried. You're a little bit, I guess I was a little bit more weary of the two lanes as opposed to the four lanes, during the winter. So, it just felt, I guess, more safe to take those, or to take that route. But I thoroughly enjoy the 34 route now,
Oh, yeah.
and driving through Seward and what. And Lincoln's been great. So, I've often heard people say, "Man, yeah, the traffic out here could be bad," and I I'm shocked to hear that, because I haven't seen any traffic except for the red and white game.
Yep.
Um, I said, okay, now this is traffic. I can understand this. But it's been really a nice experience getting in to eat anywhere you want to,
Oh, yeah.
without having to wait. And really, I mean, just fantastic food here.
I
Absolutely
love
fantastic food.
I love Lincoln. Going to
Yes.
school there, it was a great town. I mean, it's a great homey feel because it's made up of so many people from small towns. And so
Yes.
it's just got that nice, everybody's still friendly. Everybody, depending on where you're at. And I mean, most people know each other. So yeah, it's still got that family feel or friendly community.
Definitely, and a lot of people have everyone's just so nice. It's been fantastic. I don't think we've had anybody that was, unbelievably even the, typically people say, "Well, the college kids, they could be." No, they've been great too. Like, everybody's great here. So I've again, we've thoroughly enjoyed our time here in Lincoln and in York. I've definitely enjoyed it in York, as I've gotten to experience more of York, and have enjoyed that, especially, being able to play golf with a lot of people and meet them. It's been a great experience.
Awesome. So we'll jump into our little rapid fire here questions and kind of round out our interview, and we'll let each other get back to our days. But so first question, most positive part of the pandemic. I won't make you answer first. For me, the most positive part of the pandemic has been is just the ingenuity of people, like the creativity that I've seen from people, just starting their own home businesses, or figuring out a way to make work from home work. That's been very awesome. The human spirit is so ingenuitive that, it's great to see that, we had had that, even though it was a very tough time. I think a lot of good things came from.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And that's kind of what mine was, is we got hit with something that most of us have never been a part of or have experienced. And it was a big change, right? And it's caused a lot of people to think on their feet, and to your point, be very inventive or innovative on how to handle their businesses, on how to live life for a period of time. So I think as a whole, from what I've seen, that most people were able to do that, and it was really cool to see, and it helps you learn and understand, as a leader of a plant, in my case, what kind of changes we had to make, and how to keep people together, and push that whole we've got each other's back kind of thing even through the toughest times. So it was really, really good to see.
What's your favorite way to spend your day off, Cameron? If you have 24 hours to spend it however you would like, what are you doing for that day?
I'm probably going to play 36 holes of golf. I would almost guarantee it. I've played quite a few courses around here. Quarry Oaks has definitely got my attention the most. Iron Horse is pretty tough.
Yep.
But I've really enjoyed the scenic views of Quarry Oaks. And that's probably my favorite course. But I've done the Woodland Hills, and I've done a couple of the city courses.
Have you ventured out to Firethorn?
No, I have not had the luxury. Well, because I'm trying to, isn't it private? So I need somebody to invite me.
I guess, yeah, Firethorn was, I guess my buddy was a golf pro that was working out there, so I got to go all the time. So I didn't realize it was private.
Well, then maybe you're the guy.
Yeah, I'd have to get you to Firethorn. Yeah.
Yes, I'd love to play.
Awesome. And then what's a favorite restaurant you have here in York County? If you've gotten a chance to kind of venture around to the restaurants, have you got a favorite?
By far, chances are, and I love their salad bar. Maybe one of the best salad bars I've ever had anywhere. They offer everything. There's nothing not on their salad bar, and I also, I'm going to tell you, I'm a big meat guy. I love their prime rib, but that salad bar is incredible.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. It is world famous. Chances are salad bar. I mean,
yeah.
What's a favorite meal that you have? Whether that's something that's home cooked by you, or if you're going out to eat, or what's something that's kind of a favorite meal of yours that if it's being cooked, you're dropping everything you can do.
My favorite steaks, I would have to say it would probably be the ribeye, medium rare, Pittsburgh style, and then I really like asparagus.
What's Pittsburgh style?
So Pittsburgh style is like, it's really crispy on the outside, so it's like very crispy on the outside, and then you gotta have it. For me, I gotta have it pretty pink on the inside, get all that flavor. But my older brother cooks it to perfection almost every time. So I would definitely say that with some asparagus and a side salad or something. But a ribeye is my birthday meal.
Right on. Yeah, that's a good meal. If you could spend 10 days in any part of the world, where would you be spending those 10 days?
So I have had the luxury to travel to Italy. I spent actually 10 days in Italy. And then I've also been able to travel to Amsterdam, Brussels, Germany, and thoroughly enjoyed all of those places. Italy was incredible. But I would really like to do Africa. I would love to be in a safari, and kind of even be able to live with some of the tribes there, just to see what that culture and life is all about. And I think that would bring some more humbleness to myself and the world and luxuries that I have at the stage in the game for me. But I think that would probably be something I'd absolutely love to go do for 10 days.
Yeah, being out on the African safari would be, yeah, that'd be a great kind of 10 days. You know, I've always wanted to see, they have the big five, which is like the water buffalo and rhino and whatever else, but I would love to go see, yeah, those animals like up close, you know, in their actual environment.
Yeah,
The Omaha Zoo is great. I don't know if you've had a chance to do that yet. That should be on your list.
yes, we have. We made that a pretty early, once winter kind of dissipated, we made a trip there definitely, and we walked I think we walked 6 miles through the day, and it was fantastic. I don't think we missed anything. There was, I think they didn't have, I can't remember. I think the gorillas were not there.
Oh yeah.
It looked like they were making adjustments to some of their habitat that they had, but we got to see all kinds of all the other animals and the exhibits that they offered. It was fantastic zoo.
Yeah, that is without a doubt. I mean, Orlando, Omaha is, you know, is or not, or yeah, San Diego and Omaha, as tough as it's to believe to try and pitch to people on the coast that one of the best zoos in the world is located in the center of America, but it really is.
Yeah.
And then have you gotten to kind of experience any local like events around here or anything like that? Did you get to go to, I guess we haven't had much kind of going on since you've got here.
No, I heard a lot of folks talking about so York does the event where people get to drive their cars, the old cars around.
Yeah, we had like a little like old timey like car show slash like just cruise night.
Yes, I think that's what it was, cruise night. Yeah, and that sounded pretty awesome. It sounded like that was a really cool event. The community really enjoyed that. So kind of hearing about that was really nice to hear. And you know, I've been a part of something like that when I lived back in Indiana, but I haven't experienced any of those myself. But I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Well, we got York Fest coming up, so you're gonna have to check out York Fest. You're gonna have to check out the York County Fair. There's some other
Yes,
like
definitely the
things.
York County Fair will be a go-to.
Yeah, that's a must go event, you know, for anyone in the community. So definitely would love to have you at that. Perfect. So last three things here, kind of you know, what this segment here is called What's Making Us Happy. It's just kind of a fun segment to kind of round out the whole interview, just to kind of spread some positivity. There's a lot of negativity in the world. So just kind of a fun segment to talk about, you know, what's making us happy. And so for me, I just got back from, prior to this year, I had never been to Vegas. And within the last month, I've been to Vegas twice. So that's been a
Oh
lot of
boy.
fun. I've had, you know, a lot of fun with that. It was good to go out there. The first time I went out for Nationals bowling, so I didn't really get to see much. I had an itinerary that I had to keep to and a schedule. But the second time I just got to go out and just walk around and see Fremont Street and see the whole strip, see other hotels and casinos. And yeah, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. I don't think I was in bed before 3 each of those
Yeah,
nights.
I would
Great.
imagine. The city that never sleeps.
Exactly. How about you? What's something positive, something good going on in your life?
Well, right now, again, I've thoroughly enjoyed being able to join the York Country Club and doing the men's league there. Been playing on Tuesdays with I don't know if you know John Thomas.
Oh yes, I
Um,
know John Thomas.
yeah, so thoroughly enjoy him. He's a great guy, and he's been part of the road to me meeting a lot of people. But I've really enjoyed having kind of the ability to really to play golf like that on a steady with a steady group of people. And yeah, I'd have to say that I've gotten to experience a lot of different golf courses, and I love being outside, especially when it's golfing. And you guys have, I'd say Nebraska's had a lot to offer for the scenic and great courses to play. So I've thoroughly enjoyed that. And I'll actually be going to Vegas in August for one of my good friends' bachelor party. So yeah, I'll get to experience that nightlife, I'm sure.
It's back. Vegas, when the first time I was there, we still had masks and everything. Nope, Vegas is back. It's 100% good to go. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your time today, Cameron. I'll leave you with the ability to close out the show with something fun I like to do. The guest gets the final words. They can, if you have a favorite quote that you want to share, if you got words of wisdom, or if there's, anything you want to, promote, it's kind of your little 30-second, promotion. So whatever you want to do.
All right. Yeah. Again, through my experiences and really facing, I guess, death in facing death in its face, I definitely say live life to the fullest. If there's things that you want to do in this world and things you want to go enjoy, to make sure that you set the time to go do those things, as you only get to live life one time. So do what you want, because you never know when that time is going to come. And I was talking with a gentleman, and he had said to me, I wish that when I was 18, I did the things that I wanted to go do at age 18. And when I was 21, I wish I would have did the things I wanted to go do at 21, because you're only that age one time. And I didn't get to do those things. And that was a regret of his. And that I totally respected that. So yeah, I definitely recommend go live your life and really enjoy the things that you really want to enjoy in life and that make you happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, Cameron.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is 17 County, brought to you by the York County Development Corporation in Nebraska. For more information about life and opportunity in the Heartland, visit yorkdevco.com. Come grow with us. And if you liked this episode, be sure to rate and review 17 County on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.